Okay, now let us talk about this Netflix series Sweet Tooth, released June 2021. Please go and watch this series for yourself. Use critical thinking. Let us connect the dots, right? Now, this series is based on a post-apocalyptic world where a virus have wiped out parts of humanity. What do we see happening in today's world, right? Now, let us connect the dots and ask questions. Now, the few that is left, the females, they are giving birth to animal hybrids, right? Now you have a human male and a human female, and they're having children that is animal hybrid. How would you think that would come about? Now, if your DNA is compromised in any way, that can happen, right? Now let us go back to the days of Noah, right? Because it tells us that the sons of God, they were having sex with the daughters of man. But the part that they did not tell you is that they were having sex with the animals as well, right? Anything that crawls, anything that flies, anything that in the sea, they were completely corrupting the Most High creation. And that is why the Most High had to bring the flood, right? Because they were busy being spiteful, they were busy being wicked, and that is what they are doing in today's world. Now go and watch the series for yourself and understand what they are telling you, because this series was filmed in 2019, right? And as I visit some online source, they are trying to defend the similarities with this series with what is happening in today's world. They are just saying it is pure coincidence, but there is too much similarity, right? Now, these fallen ones are locked away, and the book of Jude provides us with that evidence. No, they use sex the first time to corrupt the seed of man. They are not able to have sex to corrupt the seed of man. So how do you suppose they are going to corrupt the seed of man this time? Right? Because they are locked away. But the Bible tells us that in Daniel, they will try to mix and mingle the seed. Now, when they get out, they still won't have enough time to corrupt the seed of man. So therefore, they are going to need people to carry out their wicked, cruel intentions on humanity. And that is why the scamdemic is so important, because what they are doing is giving you the jibber jab, which will contaminate your DNA, which will change your DNA, right? So those of you who did not die from the virus, right, and are still alive, when you try to procreate, you will end up with hybrid children, right? No, we try to warn you, we try to tell you, and you say it's pure conspiracy theories, but believe that that is the plan. Believe my word. The plan is to kill out quite a few of us, and the rest that is left that decide to have children, you will be having hybrid children, right? Because they have done it before and they are doing it again. And how do you suppose they can do this? Using science and technology. Because what is it that they can use is these ancient relics, these ancient mummies, ancient artifacts. Many of them is located in the Middle East, which happens to be Islamic countries. And that is why they keep having various wars with these people, because Islam is not going to hand over these relics very easily, right? And they need to extract the DNA, which is usable, because they can extract the so-called alien strand, which is the genetic material for the fallen, right? And they can purify it and use it in a jib jab. And that is why the jib jab that is made of genetic material has to be stored at such a low temperature to stabilize it. That you have some countries that are so powerful and wealthy, and they do not have hospitals to store these jib jabs, right? That is what they are using to corrupt the seed of man, and millions will die, and the few that is left, just like the movie, will be having hybrids. Now, we've got a situation where the father is explaining to the the hybrid Gus. How is it that he came to be? And this is what the father says. Once upon a time, bad people ruled the earth, doing what they wanted, taking from the planet, just like those ants. They were greedy things, self-destructive, only out for themselves. So nature made everyone sick and wiped away as many as she could. And then a miracle happened. Your kind, they call them hybrid. No one knew, sorry, no one knows where you came from or how, but the people who were left feared you. They were meaner now, angrier. They didn't like you because you were different. So nature set the rest of the earth on fire, and now it burns forever. Right now, as they say in this series, what came first, the virus or the hybrids? Right, because they are busy trying to get rid of the Most High creation so they can replace it with a bastardized version, and that is what they do very well. Right, understand what is happening now. The father is in Yellowstone forest raising Gus, and a stranger came along. Now, here's an interesting dialogue between the father and the stranger. So the dad asks, what's it like out there? The stranger said, it sucks. No rules, no law. Once the internet went down, it was over. Just tribes of people, scared, fighting over whatever left. Pay attention, because the grid is going to go down. And in this in this series, they call it the Great Crumble. Right now, the father asks, what about the sick? And he says, it slowed down, but it's still out there. People think the hybrid caused it. Yeah, well, maybe it caused them. Maybe any case, ain't many of us left. And what he's saying is that there's not a lot of humans left because the virus will be killing the humans so the hybrid can occupy the earth. That is the plan. Now, another thing that you need to look into is that the child that the main character, the main hybrid, it is no surprise that he's a horned hybrid. Right, because we've got a deity known as Ceronius, and he's a god of beasts and wild places, often called the Horned One, and he was a mediator of man and nature, able to tame predator and prey. Now, if you go and look on mythology, ancient history, you will find quite a lot of horned deities. Right, and in pagan religion, these people, they use a lot of ornaments on their heads. Right, so pay attention to that. And also there's a scene where Gus and his friend were visiting a family and they were having a meal, but the family was sitting there wearing masks. Right, what do you see happening in today's world? Right, now in this series we see a lot of mask wearing, we see hand sanitizers. Right, now the similarity between this series and what is happening is way too much, and it is very scary. And another part that you need to look for is when they're having the meal and they ask, oh, how old is their child, which is Rusty, and they says Rusty is 11 and one of the last human babies to be born. Pay attention, right? Meaning that Rusty's parents, their DNA is clean. Now, as we continue, we'll be looking on the character Amy, right? Because she is Amy Eden, and she end up living in a zoo taking care of children who are hybrid. Right now, Amy is very interesting because when they are trying to capture these hybrids, right, she have a very interesting dialogue with the general, and the general says this: Amy Eden, collector of mongrels, I've been following your work here for some time now. Do you have any idea who I am? Right now, we're not going to go over all the dialogue, but the interesting part I want you to pay attention. Let me get into it for you. Now, we'll pick it up from here. Now, Amy says this. Allow me to be clear. Go away. What's your name, military guy? The general then answers, Douglas Abbott. But you can call me General. Amy then says, you're a dinosaur, Abbott. You're already extinct. You just don't want to admit it. The general says this. Mankind's best days are yet to come. I assure you. Amy said this. No, it's the children's turn. No, and it's our job to get out of their way. General answer. There are a mutation, an invasion, pests. If not for some cruel trick of nature, they do hold something of a key to our survival. That's why we are here. Amy answers. No, they're better than us, better than you are me. They are the good part of us without the complications. Nature doesn't want us back. We never gave her a good reason to keep us around in the first place. Now these people are trying to build a case that this virus selectively kill humanity to replace it with these hybrids because nature no longer wants us around. Pay attention and understand what they are doing. They are promoting these abominations, right? Now, another character in this series that is interesting to note is Dr. Singh, because Dr. Singh was given Dr. Bell's research note because Dr. Bell faked a terminal illness because she no longer wants to work for the general. She no longer wants to do what she had to do to come up with a cure, right? No, I want you to pay attention to Dr. Bell's note and what she had to do. Listen to this and ask critical question. Unique secretion from the pineal gland of a living hybrid. Where have we heard about the pineal gland and extracting things from it? Let's continue. In specific combination with hybrid bone marrow, stem cell from the secret sauce, as it were, of our current antiviral treatment. So they are making an antiviral treatment and they're calling it a secret sauce. Where have we heard about emails leaking about the pineal gland used to make pasta sauce? Right, that's it. Used to make pasta sauce. I'm not gonna call any name, but these people are mocking us. What they are doing to our children, torturing them, right, killing them to get whatever they want out of their blood, to use their pineal gland to create whatever sauce for their meal, right? They are mocking us with that one, right? And in the series as well, Dr. Bell's community, they've got their neighbor, and what we see is that they were eating and drinking and laughing with the neighbor, and the moment they realize the neighbor is infected, everyone starts to wear their mask. They wrap this man in plastic, drench him with oil, and burnt him alive in his house, right? All in the name of a virus. People have gotten really cruel, right? And the doctor, he no longer uses a car. He has to use a horse to get around because, as they say, the grid crumble, which is the grid collapse, right? So you need to pay attention, right? Now let us continue, because another interesting character in the series is the children who are vigilante. Now these children, they are very good with weapons. They are no parents. They play video games and they eat a whole lot of sweet, right? Now the leader, which is Bear, says this. I've spent my entire life thinking hybrids were a miracle of nature. I formed an army who believed it too, because they realize now that these are hybrids were created in a lab, right? And they were created from materials that they get from Alaska, which is very close to the North Pole. And we know that in the book of Enoch, it tells us that these fallen ones are frozen in a place that resembles the North Pole, right? Pay attention, because they are telling you everything that you need to know and what is going on and the hands that are busy at play. Now, Bear and the character Judy have a interesting conversation because Bear wants to know what is going on. What was really going on at Fort Smith? Bear asks. Judy answered, that's another lifetime ago. Bear says, why did they make Gus? How did you do it? Judy says, well, Gus was all birdies. But Fort Smith wasn't just about Gus. Bear then asked, I know. It was about the virus too, wasn't it? Judy then says, why does it matter now? Bear says, what does the virus have to do with kids like Gus? Judy says, I once heard her say there were two sides of the same coin, but she wouldn't tell me any more than that. So Bear go on to say, so why have you been protecting her work for all these years? And Judy says, because she was my best friend. She was family to me, like a sister. When she left me here, well, I had nowhere else to go. People, understand the game is rigged. Understand what these people are trying to tell us, right? Now, this series is too similar to what is going on in today's world, right? We have a virus that is happening right now, and if we think people are dying, just give it a couple months, people will start dropping like flies. Right? Because all of you out there that takes the jibber jab, your DNA is compromised. Right? Your DNA is compromised, and you'll be having hybrid children. That is what they are telling you. It sounds crazy. It sounds like I'm reaching, but that is the plan. These fallen angels are not able to have sex, so they are using science and technology to mix and mingle the seed. Understand, we are not alone. We were never alone. Right? Know that the grid is going to go down. Right? And if you watch the series and pay attention, you will notice in a scene with Dr. Singh with his wife, he had to be drinking water from containers, as like they fill massive containers with water to drink because the water wasn't clean anymore. Pay attention and make sure you've got your own supplies, because time will be desperate. Right? Because in this series we see where they have some sort of a barter system where they're even using shoelace, they're using batteries, right, to get whatever services or goods that they need. Right? So you need to understand the times that we are going into, and it all surrounds a virus that is happening in today's world. So you don't want to be left fighting over whatever is left behind. You need to be prepared. These people are showing you and telling you what is to come. This series is absolutely shocking. You would not believe how barefaced they are. Without shame, they are showing you and letting you know that your DNA will be compromised, that a man and a woman, right, human, will have a hybrid animal child, right? And they're not hiding it. We need to pray because we are entering dangerous times, and many of us don't realize just how dangerous the times are, and many of us don't realize that we're in the times of Noah. Right? The days of Noah is here. This is just the calm before the storm. Let us pray and say, glory be to the Most High.